song, it never gets too long. Maybe I'd kiss her again. If you knew, you do, I'm sure. The stars start to shine, I'm sipping on my wine, wishing to miss her no more. The wind in the trees is like a ghost to me. She holds me close to my life. If you knew, you do, I'm sure. They say around the bend never has an end. I'm singing about her, my love. They say there is no time, tomorrow's hard to find. She is tomorrow for me. If you knew, you do, I'm sure. She's lying in her bed, covers over her head. Maybe she's thinking of me.
And that was Richard, Cam, and Bert from our limited edition album, which is truly limited. You can't find it anywhere. That beautiful song was by Charles E. Smith, and that arrangement was by Richard and Cam. I joined the band after they'd already started out as a street performing duo. That was my first serious band in the West Village, and today's show is called A Fine Kettle of Fish, and it's dedicated to the years that I spent in the West Village from the mid-'60s up into the now. Most of the music you're going to hear are songs that I heard other people play, that I first encountered when I was starting out as a singer and a songwriter. And at the age of 14, I went to Florida with my family, and a friend of mine who knew I'd been playing guitar for a while took me to a folk club called The Flick. And there I heard Fred Neil and Vince Martin, and that sold me on the idea that I wanted to play that kind of music. Now I play all kinds of music, but this is the music that started me out. Fred Neil. Everybody's talking at me, can't hear a word they're saying, only the echo in my mind. People stop and stare, I can't see their faces, only the shadows in their eyes. Going where the sun keeps shining through the pouring rain, going where the weather suits my clothes, banking off of that northeast wind, I'm sailing on a summer breeze, skipping over the ocean like a stone. Everybody's talking at me, I can't hear a word they're saying, only the echoes in my mind. People stop and stare, I can't see their faces, only the shadows in their eyes. Going where the sun keeps shining through the pouring rain, going where the weather suits my clothes, banking off of that northeast wind, I'm sailing on a summer breeze, skipping over the ocean like a stone. I won't let you leave my love behind, won't let you leave my love behind, won't let you leave my love behind. Everybody's talking at me, everybody's talking at me. So that's one of the first songs I ever heard played live at the Flick in Miami, and just about a year and a half later, I was a runaway coming to New York City with a guitar and no idea of what was going to happen next in my life. And took my guitar to Gertie's Folk City, and there I heard Fred Neil sing that same song again. So I'm going to do it again. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I heard him. I heard Tim Hardin. I heard Karen Dalton. And I was just this kid with a lot of Donovan in my brain. And they treated me really nice. If I listened long enough to you, I'd find a way to believe it's all true. Knowing that you lied straight-faced while I cried, still I'd look to find a reason to believe. If I gave you time to change my mind, I'd find a way to leave the past behind. Knowing that you lied straight-faced while I cried, still I'd look to find a reason to believe. Someone like you makes it hard to live without somebody else. Someone like you makes it easy to give. Never think about myself. If I gave you time to change my mind, I'd find a way to leave the past behind. Knowing that you lie straight-faced while I cry, still I'd look to find a reason to believe. Yes, now if I gave you time to change my mind, I'd find a way to leave the past behind. Knowing that you lied straight-faced while I cried, still I'd look to find a reason to believe. If I listened long enough to you. So many of the songwriters from that era remained a bit obscure in their own careers because the folk wave had already passed just about a year or two before I arrived on the scene, and who was left were great songwriters like Tim Hardin, who wrote that song. And most people don't even know who he is, though they know that song because somebody else sang it and made it famous, and that happened to an awful lot of people. One person who was just remarkably well loved on the scene for her tremendous singing voice and just beautiful presence was Karen Dalton. And she was there at that first hootenanny that I ever went to at Gertie's Folk City. When I first came to town, they called me the Roving Jew. Now they've changed their tune, they call me Katie Cruz. Through the woods I go, through the swamp and the mire, straight way down the road till I come to my heart's desire. If I was where I would be where I am not. Here I am where I must be, where I would be, I cannot. When I first came to town, they bought me drinks aplenty. Now they've changed their tune, they bring me the bottle empty. Through the woods I go, through the swamp and the mire, straight way down the road till I come to my heart's desire. If I was where I would be, I'd be where I am not. Here I am where I must be, where I would be, where I would be, I cannot. Through the woods I go, through the swamp and mire, straight way down the road till I come to my heart's desire. Karen Dalton, Katie Cruz. Where was I in all of this? In the beginning, I lived in the Brooklyn Heights when I first started going to these open mics and hootenannies. Played at a club called the Four Winds, which was a basket house. It meant you showed up with your guitar and you made whatever people put in the basket. These were non-alcoholic clubs. They served terrible tasting drinks to kids coming in from New Jersey. But it's where many, many, many people got their start in the West Village. And I was writing songs. I was living in a commune for a while in the East Village, and this is a song I wrote while I was there. One of the first good songs I ever did write. And by His Majesty's decree, the people are invited to a celebration on the palace lawn. If you come just after 3, the food and drink will be provided. If you don't go, you will wish that you had gone. For the princess is engaged to a 6-day tandem racer, a faster man on wheels there's never been. And the wedding date is reckoned at July the 22nd. When he arrives, the celebration will begin. Now the king was very glad his daughter finally had a husband trapped to occupy her days. She rarely did a thing but to sit and weep and sing, and to wander through the palace garden maze. And the tandem racer's name was Baron Basil Werner, possessor of a world-famed racing cup. He spins his silver pedals, he polishes his medals, and you couldn't count the brides that he stood up. On July the 21st, the royal wedding was rehearsed, and everyone except the groom was there. They tried hard not to worry, they were sure that he would hurry and arrive with lots of time to spare. But from Luxembourg the tandem racer sent a cablegram. He'd raced against the clock and he had lost. His wheels spin round and they make a whirring sound, and you couldn't count the countries that he crossed. Well, they held the wedding anyway, though it started in to rain, and the princess emptied water from her shoe. It rained all day and the baron never came, and the people all found better things to do. One of my very first songs. That's my lovely wife Josephine, lurking there in the so far empty peanut gallery. I hope people come and join us here. You can always hear this 24 hours from now when it replays. And the second edition, part 2 of A Fine Kettle of Fish, featuring mostly songs I'm not playing today, and there's a lot of songs that were inspired by the village. That will be tomorrow at 7. In the East Village, we lived in a commune. It was headed by the inimitable Samuel R. Delany, one of the greatest science fiction writers of last century and this one as well. And we would get very stoned and lie on the floor and listen to Country Joe and the Fish. The white ducks fly out past the sun, their wings flash silver at the moon, while waters rush down the mountain tongues, my organs play a circus tune. I dance to the wonder of your feet, and I sing to the joy of your knees. The cold white dress on the mountain's breast paints the frozen trees. The maple plants patterns in the sky, its leaves to kiss the wind, while scores of glittering bugs and flies dance polkas on her limbs. I whistle symphonies of your face, and I laugh for your hair so fine. On startled gleams of playground grass, a child jumps rope to rhyme. The reeds and brass, the marching drums, they play a joyous sound, while trees bend low with nuts and plums and fall to find the ground. I hunger for your porpoise mouth, and I stand erect for love. The sun burns up the winter sky, and all the earth is love. The sun burns up the winter sky, and all the earth is love. Country Joe McDonald. I don't know if he ever played on MacDougal Street. He played at Tompkins Square Park, and it was the year after the Summer of Love, and New York had descended into kind of a mess, and his playing in the park with all of his face-painted, semi-naked California vibes was very puzzling to the denizens of that park, but we had a great time listening to Country Joe and the Fish. One of the people that I heard in my early days of the West Village, who would then go on to become a luminary in the world of music, was the wonderful Joni Mitchell. And this is one of the first of her songs that I ever heard. Her version, of course, is splendid and beautiful, but what's surprising, and I mention him now because I'm not really doing any of his songs, he's received plentiful praise from all quarters for good reasons, but in this case, I've left him out of the mix to make room for other people. But Dave Van Ronk, I will mention him here because one of the loveliest versions of the song I'm about to sing now is surprisingly his very tender version of it with the Hudson Dusters. Bows and flows of angel hair, ice cream castles in the air, and feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way. Now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I could have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds' illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave 'em laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's love's illusions I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and acting proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds, I've looked at life that way. Now old friends say I'm acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. But something's lost and something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all. It's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all. Yeah, I was going to do He Was a Friend of Mine. I might do that later on in this show, or perhaps in tomorrow's show. I kind of rewrote the lyrics to have to do with a real friend of mine that we lost a number of years ago. So I think I'll look up those lyrics to make sure I sing those. It's an all-purpose kind of song. That beautiful song, of course, everyone knows. Here's a song people don't know. One of the things that always happened in the Heavenly Breakfast commune, where me and my band, the Heavenly Breakfast, dwelled for a while, is someone would bring in records by people who were up and coming but not known yet, and we would go nuts. We heard the first Bee Gees album that way, the first Incredible String Band album that way, first of everything. And the first Nilsson album came to our attention, and the song is from the first Nilsson album, and it's one of my favorite songs. I like songs that are a little cryptic. You might know that about me. I don't think... Somebody once said if something is too silly to say, you can sing it. I think there's three kinds of songs. There's love songs, which break down into love songs and love lost songs. It's a subcategory. And then there's songs that are just silly, and you sing them and they la 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 and they make you happy. And then there's songs that kind of touch some funny little part of your brain that hadn't been touched before. And they don't necessarily make a lot of sense, but they touch that thing. She sang hymns out of tune, carried a yellow balloon. She traded her love for a Spanish doubloon and talked to the people who are. She lived in a sorcerer's room. She pounded the table and brandished the broom. She turned 10,000 when she touched the moon and talked to the people who are. I have a clock on my wall. It keeps time, and that isn't all. It tells me how long she's been gone, away to the people who are. She lived in a sorcerer's room. She pounded the table and brandished the broom. She tended 10,000 when she touched the moon and talked to the people who are. Now the rain came and scattered away the old antique caretaker's children that day. Later that evening she passed away, away to the people who are. She sang hymns out of tune, carried a yellow balloon. She traded her love for a Spanish doubloon and talked to the people who are. Harry Nilsson song. Neko Gaijin, I don't know who you are because I don't recognize that name. Brings me back. I don't know who you are. Say who you are if you choose. But welcome to this a lovely gathering of friends. And hi, Lenny Molotov. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. As I've been telling all my nice friends here, this is a celebration of the music that I heard or that was inspired my time in the West Village when I was a young teenage runaway, and then as I grew up and became a middle-aged runaway, and now I'm an old-aged runaway and the years have flown by, but I still have served the West Village as often as I can, and it's always been very nice to meet great musicians and have fun there. This is one of the great unknown songwriters of the West Village, who should be widely known, and I do this song with great frequency because it is absolutely beautiful. The Dutchman's not the kind of man who keeps his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. That's a secret only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam was golden in the summer, Margaret brings him breakfast, she believes in him. He thinks that tulips bloom beneath the snow. As mad as he can be, Margaret only sees that sometimes. Sometimes she sees her unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man. Dear Margaret remembers that for me. The Dutchman still wears wooden shoes. His coat and cap are stitched with love that Margaret sews in them. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam. He follows tugboats down canals and waves to them when he thinks he knows the captain. Till Margaret comes to take him home again, through unforgiving streets that trip him though she holds his arm. Sometimes he thinks that he's alone and calls her name. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man. Dear Margaret remembers that for me. The winter whirls the windmills round. She winds his muffler tighter. They sit in the kitchen. Some tea with whiskey keeps away the dew. He sees her for a moment, says her name. She makes the bed up singing some old love song. A song that Margaret learned when it was new. Sing a line or two and hum together in the night. The Dutchman falls asleep and Margaret blows the candle out. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man. Dear Margaret remembers that for me. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. Charles Michael Smith, who just took this year to move on to greener pastures. Now, once again, this is not a band that I don't think ever played on MacDougal Street, but they sure did inspire a lot of people who were there over the years by bringing together a kind of traditional music was something that was indescribably their own. I'm dedicating this song to my dearly beloved friend Sema Gurun, who could not go through a day without listening to some of their music, and the incredible string band. When the morning of my eyes comes waking to my shadow, leaving just a trace of twilight sleep, I whisper to the baby raindrops playing on my window, and I tell them gently, this is not the time that they should weep. Somewhere in my mind there is a painting box. I have every color there, it's true. Lately when I look into my painting box, I seem to pick the colors of you. My Friday evening's footsteps plodding dully through this black town is far away now from this world I'm in. My ears are hearing something I believe just might be springtime. With daffodils between my toes, I'm laughing at their whim. Somewhere in my mind there is a painting box. I have every color there, it's true. Lately when I look into my painting box, I seem to pick the colors of you. The purple sail above me catches all the strength of summer. Fishes stop and ask me where I'm bound. I smile and shake my head and say my little ship is sinking, but I kind of like the sea that I'm on, and I don't mind if I do drown. Oh, somewhere in my mind there is a painting box. I have every color there, it's true. Lately when I look into my painting box, I seem to pick the colors of you. The purple sail above me catches all the strength of summer. Fishes stop and ask me where I'm bound. I smile and shake my head and say my little ship is sinking. I kind of like the sea that I'm on, and I don't mind if I do drown. Now somewhere in my mind there is a painting box. Oh, I have every color there, it's true. Lately when I look into my painting box, I seem to pick the colors of you. I seem to pick the colors of you. I seem to pick the colors of you. Painting box. I had the pleasure and the honor of being the opening act for last week's Greenwich Village Folk Festival, which you can find at greenwichvillagefolkfestival.org. I was first in a nice lineup of many, many talented musicians, opening, indeed, for them, and that was an honor, and they were all wonderful. But the thing that made it most beautiful was that the headliner was Tom Paxton, and that kind of thing can bring you up. Oh, Ian and Sylvia. Wow, there you go. I will do my best on that. I do know some Ian and Sylvia, so it's entirely possible. There you go. Oh, you were one of my Key West friends, Neko Gaijin, man of mystery. I'm assuming man of mystery, but individual of mystery. And welcome, Harvey Bojarski. I want to take this opportunity to thank a bunch of people for some things. People, this thing down here, well, that's important to me. And if you're here, there's no ticket charge. If you can drop something in there and you send it to my Venmo address or to PayPal, that's much appreciated. And also, you can also, and I'll put this up for just a moment and put this up later on the screen, you can go to my Bandcamp site, and there you can collect songs and albums. And the nice thing about Bandcamp is they actually pay me the lion's share of what you pay them. It's not like the bullshit of Spotify where I make 0.0047 cents for each click. Bandcamp is kind to the musicians, and if you go there and just listen, you don't get charged at all. And if you download the songs, you get a high-quality download of songs from Salt for Silver, which is an album I put out in midwinter, and The Pop Cycle, which is a song I put out in the spring. And you might get a preview of some of the songs that are coming out on Swimming in Falling Water, which will be co-produced by my dear friend Dan Simpson. And in just a moment, I'm going to play you a song that Dan Simpson engineered and co-produced for me. And I thank you. I thank you all for being here. I thank you for your support. If you can't afford to chip in, I do understand times are rough for all of us. But what you can do is you can remind people, that old guy Bert Lee, he still sounds pretty fucking good. And you might want to go listen to his live streams because he's killing it, which I hope I am. I take care of myself. My wife takes care of me. And as a result, I'm not all worn out. And Tom Paxton. It's a long and dusty road, it's a hot and heavy load, and the people that you meet aren't always kind. Some are bad, some are good, some have done the best they could, and some have tried to ease my troubling mind. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound. I've wandered around this land, just doing the best I can, trying to find what I was meant to do. And the people that I see, they're as worried as can be, and some of them want to be a rambler too. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound. I can't help but wonder where I'm bound. I had a little girl one time, she had lips like cherry wine, and I loved her till my head went plumb insane. I was too blind to see she was moving away from me, and my good gal left on the morning train. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound. I can't help but wonder where I'm bound. I had a buddy way back home who started in to Rome, and I hear he ended up by Frisco Bay. Sometimes when I've had a few, his old voice comes running through, and I think I'll go and see him some old day. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound. I can't help but wonder where I'm bound. If you see me passing by, don't you sit and wonder why, and wish that you could be a rambler too. Nail your shoes to the kitchen floor, lace them up and bar the door. Thank your stars for the roof that's over you. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound. I can't help but wonder where I'm bound. No, I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound. Alrighty, we can try something a little different as I take a wee break from the live performance here for a recorded tune, which is a song that's available on my album Salt for Silver, which is an album dedicated mostly to this kind of music that I'm doing today here, folk-inflected, country and songwriter-inflected music. And this particular song is one of the very first songs I ever wrote. And the way it works is I'm going to play you a video while the song is rolling, and I hope you enjoy my song, Evelyn. Pardon me, folks, while I start that all over again. I was not doing it correctly. And now I shall start the thing again. This is a song called Evelyn. Beside a water wheel, Dawn was laying diamonds in the grass. My Evelyn looked gently down. Water was her looking glass. The snow had come and gone. Shoots of May were pushing through the ground. A bird did sing on every bough. Lord, it made the softest sound. Sun is rising. It's not surprising, I know the sun, he's my friend. I hardly know you, where are you going to, and when will you be back again? Snow had come and gone. Shoots of May were pushing through the ground. A bird did sing on every bough. Lord, it made the softest sound. Sun is rising, it's not surprising, I know the sun, he's my friend. I hardly know you, where are you going to, and when will you be back again? I hardly know you, where are you going to, and when will you be back again? Beside a water wheel. And I hope you enjoyed that. Pardon the noise. Okay, I had a request, which I am now going to fulfill. For my friend Harvey Borjarski. Ian and Sylvia song. Four months ago, last April, on a day coach she come down, and the dusty autumn winds begin to blow. Should have known I couldn't hold her, living out so far from town, and the nights to come are long, slow to go. So I'll take my dog, take my truck, and I'll head on down to town, and the dusty autumn winds begin to blow. I'll sit and count the evening stars as they walk around, and the nights to come are long, slow to go. I should have known before we kissed, can't keep red velvet on a poor dirt farm like this. I'll call my dog, take my truck, and head on down to town, and the dusty autumn winds begin to blow. I should have known before we kissed that you can't keep red velvet on a poor dirt farm like this. And I'll call my dog, take my truck, and head on down to town, and the dusty autumn winds begin to blow. 4 months ago, last April, on a day coach she come down, and the nights to come are long, slow to go. And the nights to come are long, slow to go. Oh, hi, Mark Lynn. Yeah, that is a nice version of Evelyn, isn't it? That my co-producer and mastering engineer Dan Simpson had a lot to do with how nice that sounds, and I'm glad you liked it. Nice to see you. I have visitors galore, and that makes me very, very happy. This is a song I learned from Samuel R. Delaney when I was living in the commune, the Heavenly Breakfast, and we tried to have a little band. This song is an ancient song that he revised lyrics for and wrote the guitar arrangement of, and that's how it is. Bedlam boys, Bedlam boys, Bedlam boys are bonny, for they all go bad and they live in the air, and they want no drink nor money. From the hag and hungry goblin that into rags would rend ye, spirits that stand by a naked man in the book of moons defend ye, that of your 5 sound senses you shall not be forsaken, or wander from yourselves with Tom abroad to beg your bacon. Oh, I do sing any food, any feeding, shelter, drink, or clothing. Come dame nor maid, be not afraid, poor Tom will endure nothing. The moon's my constant mistress, and the lonely owl my marrow. The flaming drake and the night crow make me music to my sorrow. I know more than Apollo, for oft while he lay sleeping, I see the stars at bloody wars and the wounded welkin weeping. Oh, I do sing any food, any feeding, shelter, drink, or clothing. Come dame nor maid, be not afraid, poor Tom will endure nothing. With a host of furious fancies, whereof I am commander, with a flaming spear and a horse of air, to the wilderness I wander. By a night of ghosts and shadows I summon damned attorney, 10 leagues beyond the wide world's end, methinks it is no journey. I do sing any food, any feeding, shelter, drink, or clothing. Come dame nor maid, be not afraid, poor Tom will endure nothing. I will find my merry mad Maudlin, and I'll seek whate'er betides her, and I will love beneath of above the dirty earth that hides her. My staff is murdered giants, and my bag a long knife carries, for to cut mince pies from children's thighs with which to feed the fairies. And I do sing any food, any feeding, shelter, drink, or clothing. Come dame nor maid, be not afraid, poor Tom will endure nothing. Bedlam boys, Bedlam boys, Bedlam boys are bonny, for they all go bare and they live in the air, and they want no drink nor money. Modern chord at the end of an ancient song there. We're doing fine. I'm coming up on an hour of playing music to a lovely audience. Thank you so much for being with me here. And I haven't done a lot of original songs, so I'm going to do a couple for you right now. And these songs were chosen because they had something to do with what we're dealing with here today, the West Village, and also the inspiration that I got from being around so many great songwriters who wrote in more like a folk idiom. This tune is homage to Bob Dylan. It is the title song of my album Salt for Silver. I'll give you salt for silver if you'll only make the trade. This poetry, these melodies are things that I have made. I've woven them from songs I've heard, from stories I've been told. I'll give you salt for silver unless you offer gold. Gonna build a big machine, a mechanical collage. Gonna build it in the workshop in the back of my garage. It's gonna be a wild contraption made of cogs and wheels and gears and discarded bits of everything I've gathered through the years. And when it gets to rolling, it's gonna make an awesome sound, like thunder in the mountains or an earthquake underground. When I'm done, they're gonna ask me, Bob, just what does that thing do? And I will turn around and ask them, man, well, what's it do for you? I'm gonna write a crazy song, I'm not sure what it's gonna mean. Might be plain, might be a puzzle, might be something in between. Gonna populate the verses with people from my dreams. It might point to something deep or maybe just be what it seems. Oh, but when I get to singing it, it's gonna make an awful noise. Oh, but I really can't be bothered by the folks my voice annoys. When I'm done, they're gonna beg me, please explain that thing to me. And I will turn around and tell them, man, it's nothing you can't see. Do I really have to tell you that is just the way I roll? I'm just a simple farm boy with a complicated soul, who set out first to follow in Woody Guthrie's tracks, to sing about the common man and the burdens on their backs. I'm gonna write an epic novel, a mountain range of prose. Might turn the tide of history or turn all my friends to foes. It's gonna be a wild concoction made of thoughts and words and prayers. There might be nothing underneath when you peel away the layers. Oh, if I fail in that ambition, I'm gonna put away my pen, put on ordinary clothing, go and walk the world of men. Gonna look in all their faces, at the stories in their eyes, in the hopes that all the misery I see there makes me wise. Do I really have to tell you that is just the way I roll? I'm just a simple farm boy with a complicated soul, who set out first to follow in Woody Guthrie's tracks, to sing about the common man and the burdens on their backs, who got waylaid in the city by the beatniks and the clowns, and the grief that always comes to you from mixing ups and downs, who tried his hand at Jesus and suffered a relapse and had to rebuild his ideas from all these bits and scraps. I'll give you salt for silver if you'll only make the trade. This poetry, these melodies, they are things that I have made. I've borrowed them from songs I've heard, from stories I've been told. I'll give you salt for silver unless you offer gold. Salt for Silver, title song of Salt for Silver. All about Bob Dylan and his hobby of building giant metal sculptings out of found artwork. Now, if I learned anything from being exposed to all these great songwriters, people that I met, some of them weren't even songwriters, they were just great writers. I got to meet George Carlin, Lily Tomlin, and I got to hear everybody that was good. If there was one thing I learned about songwriting, is if you're going to be funny, be funny. If you're going to be serious, be serious. But if you want to write about something important, go ahead and do it. So I try from time to time to write about important things. Our old Italian neighborhood has turned Chinese maybe for good. Water, water everywhere. The ghetto has been gentrified. The first folks have been pushed aside. Doesn't matter if it's fair. It's the same thing everywhere. The Indians who once lived here, they made their trade in hunting deer. Water, water everywhere. They made a bargain with the Dutch that really didn't leave them much, but the Dutchmen didn't care. Money, money everywhere. Now the hippies have all moved upstate, and the hipsters came to take their place. Maybe the only difference is the hair. And the little shops you could afford to shop in now, they all are boarded, but the building owners, they don't care. It's the same thing everywhere. Well, the water just goes where it will, you know it always flows downhill. Rivers running everywhere. And who are you and I to kid? It just does what it always did. Just goes where it's meant to be, flowing till it finds the sea. Water, water everywhere. The music clubs have all shut down now. New York is a rich man's town. Doesn't matter if it's fair. And the only music that remains is while you're waiting for the trains, and you can tip them if you care. So much free music everywhere. But the money just goes where it must. It's all about the boom or bust. Buddy, have you got a dime to spare? And who are you and I to kid? It settles for the lowest bid. The bottom line is where it goes. That's just the way the money flows. Doesn't matter if it's fair. Now in my new Chinese neighborhood, the people that I meet are good. It's the same thing everywhere. No matter where they come from, friend, they're only people in the end. It's not their fault they had to settle there. People, people, people everywhere. People trying just to be everywhere like you and me, like water flowing to the sea, going where we're meant to be. Water, 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 water everywhere. I've got two more songs for you, and I'm thanking you once again for being an audience for me today, visiting with me, and it's just always a pleasure to play my music for people. If they've never heard my music before, how great it is. And if they have heard my music before, how great it is to surprise them with new songs that they've never heard before. So I'm going to do exactly two more songs. This one goes out to my dear friend Harvey Bojarski. And thank you once again, Harvey, for the new strings. Harvey provided me with the first change of strings that I've had in months, and hence I sound good for a change. And thank you so much, Harvey. Thank you for visiting here so often. And all the rest of you, thank you for being here. I will be back with Chapter 2 of A Fine Kettle of Fish tomorrow. I will do some Dave Van Ronk tomorrow. He was a friend of mine because I rewrote the lyrics for my own purposes, and I'll be happy to do that for my wife. And got two songs for you. This one goes to Harvey, and the last one goes out to Josie. Then I will put up my monetary screen with some recorded music. I'll be playing Amnesia, a song that I wrote in the 70s. Okay, this is a song I wrote in the 60s, following with the theme. There I stood on the street, a grown man at last, with the road at my feet. I turned my back to the past. It's a story of old. You've heard it before, I know it's been told. with the sun in my eyes. I went seeking the prize. My father, he told me I had best take some care, and he offered me money to help pay for my fare. It's a story of old, you've heard it before, I know it's been told. With the sun in my eyes, I went seeking the prize. It's a story of old, you've heard it before, I know it's been told. With the sun in my eyes, I went seeking the prize. Now the miles, they are many, back to where I come from, and the prize, if there's any, is just a ticket back home. It's a story of old, you've heard it before, I know it's been told. With the sun in my eyes, I went seeking the prize. The Prize, originally written in 1969, later recorded in the 70s with the Central Park Sheiks. And a shout out to any or all of them. And this is as I say, I showed up in the West Village at the age of 15 with a guitar and shapeless ambitions. Somebody once recently asked me on Facebook, when did you first realize you hadn't made it? And I think it was because I was signed with Pure International Music, and a businessman that I pissed off there said, I'm going to break it to you, kid, you're never going to make it, and you're the kind of stupid asshole that doesn't even know what it is. So I figured he must be right, because he had a solid gold golf ball on his desk. And so, as you can see, it didn't deter me. I keep on doing this thing that I do, and I will continue to do it until they put me down for the last nap. And I showed up in the Village at the age of 15 with a head full of Donovan songs, and this one was always at the top of my list, and how appropriate that that should be so. Josie, I won't fail you, I won't fail you, have no fear. Oh, Josie, I won't fail you, give me one more chance, the day is near. The meadows, they are bursting, the yellow corn lies in your hand, and with the night comes sorrow as the tide of dawn sweeps off the land. The long breezes are blowing all down the sky into my face. I've a weary kind of feeling my time has come and gone to waste. Well, I love you, darling Josie, the trees of pine, they grow so tall. How come you come to love me when you didn't love me at all? Oh, Josie, I won't fail you, I won't fail you, have no fear. Oh, Josie, I won't fail you, give me one more chance, the day's near. My Josie looks a child now as she lies here on my breast. In the night I think about her, and in the day I get no rest. Well, I cut me a young pine cone and I gave it to the river deep. It sailed way by your window where you lay so long in sleep. God bless you, darling Josie, with your sparkling eyes so bright and clear. Oh, Josie, I won't fail you, I won't fail you, have no fear. No, Josie, I won't fail you, I won't fail you, have no fear. Oh, Josie, I won't fail you, give me one more chance, the day is near. And so I bid you all a fond adieu, a fondue. And as I say, I'm putting this on for people who attend, who've never supported me but might want to know how to do that unit of thingness of supporting me. And while it runs its course, I will play for you a song that I love and that I'm very, very proud of, called Amnesia, from my later days, inspired by so many songwriters and encouraged by my dear friend Eric Franzen. The time can go so slowly in a barroom late at night, where the people move like ghosts through the smoky candlelight. The band is playing something that's got distance, man, they're cool. In the shadows of a back room, some old boys are playing pool. This blue light music's got me sinking into deep amnesia. I get the funniest feeling, it must be deja vu. I'll tell you something, brother, just one time through will do. It all comes back so clearly when I only stop to think. And on that note, I think I'll go and have myself another drink. This blue light music's got me sinking into deep amnesia. There's a joke I'd like to tell you, but they say my timing's off. Before I hit the punchline, I always take a drag and cough, and that's just another nasty habit that I really ought to break. But if I don't, you know that won't be my first mistake. The bartender calls me buddy, and the waitress calls me hun. The only song I request all night is Mother Nature's Son. The band, they just can't swing to that, so they play some miles instead. These crazy syncopations are all just fucking with my head. This
This blue light music's got me sinking into deep